Hi, so this video is just going to be kind of freeform here. I didn't really write much of a script, just have a couple notes. I want to talk about my initial thoughts and impressions on the Mario movie because a few people were interested in what I thought of it because I saw it yesterday. So I'm just going to make a quick video here talking about that. I thought the movie overall, it was enjoyable. It was unrelentlessly delightful because it was just it felt very heartfelt and it had a lot of soul. I do think it has some major problems. Primarily the pacing is what I've been seeing most people complaining about and criticizing, and I think that's warranted. I think the pacing is very all over the place. It moves very fast, which is something I like on one hand, but on the other hand, I feel like there were many moments where you just need to stop and breathe for a minute, and they just were relentless and just new thing to look at. My only other real problem with it is that I feel like there was an overabundance of pop songs, which I get it, it's a kid's movie, there's going to be pop songs in it, but it felt like there were a lot that just really weren't relevant to the situation they were played in. Particularly a use of the song Take On Me by a-ha it seemed particularly out of place. I really liked Mario and Luigi's relationship, though I wish Luigi had more time in the movie. Due to him having to be the person to be saved in the movie, he did end up really not getting a ton of time to do stuff. And that was just disappointing because I like Luigi and I wanted more Luigi in the movie. The music is definitely the star of the show in this, and the animation. Everyone was talking about how amazing the movie looked, and yes, the movie does look fantastic. But the music is just wonderful. Every second it feels like they're incorporating some theme from an old game, and I loved it. And it's not just because it was music from the games, it was because they sounded really great and the orchestrations were fantastic. So right now I'm going to breach into minor spoiler territory and then major spoiler territory. So if you want to see the movie yourself, go see it now and then come back to this video later if you want, because I just don't want to ruin this for anybody. There was some controversy about the movie right when it came out because the DK rap is in it very briefly, which was quite jarring to hear just straight up the Donkey Kong rap in the movie, because I thought it was going to be some orchestration when I heard that it was used briefly, but no, it's just the straight up real DK rap for a second, which was very delightful to hear. But yeah, the controversy is that they did not credit the original composer of the song, Grant Kirkhope, who worked on plenty of Rare games back in the N64 days. He composed music for Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, and Donkey Kong 64. And it was uncool that they didn't credit him. I don't know if it's some sort of union thing, because a lot of people are upset about it, but I'm assuming that it has something to do with the rights to the song and not necessarily that they didn't want to credit him. But I mean, what's the alternate here? Oh, they did it just because they didn't want to pay him or something. So I hope we get an answer to that soon as to why that was. The movie was just brimming with Easter eggs. A lot of them I really enjoyed. Charles Martinet's cameos were wonderful. It was very funny and really weird, honestly, seeing Mario and Luigi with like an actual official family for once, because it feels like something that was only ever briefly touched on in like the Super Show, and it was kind of weird just seeing them have like a real family, though I do really appreciate how they really leaned into them being an Italian family and ribbing each other a lot, coming from a predominantly Italian family myself. Another complaint I had, actually, now that I think about it, is that it felt weird when the Illumination characters, who were clearly designed by Illumination, were interacting with the Mario characters, because it just looked kind of weird, like they didn't mesh together well. They looked like, Secret Life of Pets, Despicable Me characters interacting with Mario characters. But luckily they get out of the real world pretty quick, though they return to it later, which was a pleasant surprise because I thought it was just going to be out for the rest of the movie. I thought pretty much all around the voice acting was really good. Another weird thing was hearing Cranky Kong directly acknowledge Donkey Kong as his son, because even though that's been canon for a long time, it's just weird because it's never acknowledged in the games all that much. It's just more so acknowledged that Cranky was the original Donkey Kong, so it was a very interesting thing to hear him say, "Oh, you must beat my son." But yeah, the voice acting pretty much across the board was pretty good. Even Chris Pratt as Mario, which everyone was worried about, I thought he did a good job. I liked all of the voice acting, except Cranky Kong, actually. I feel like Cranky Kong did not sound grumpy enough, and it was just distracting to me, because that was actually the one voice that when I heard it, I was like, this doesn't feel right. I also wish Donkey Kong was given more time as a character to show through, because I love him and Mario's interactions with each other and everything, but all of a sudden there's this, my dad thinks I'm a joke, and it was never brought up at any other point, so it just felt like kind of abrupt, like, oh, okay, this is the moment where we need them to have an emotional connecting moment, which it was, and then they do, and I still liked them interacting. I just wish Donkey Kong was given more time as a character to show through. An element I really liked was that they did actually try to tease a romance between Mario and Peach, because it's something that's been very downplayed in the games over the last decade or so, is that they've really just stopped trying to suggest that they like each other in any way, which, from the outset of the original games was the thing. She was the princess to be saved. It's an archetypal story, right? And in this, they did actually seem to like each other, and they even tease, like, Mario's like, oh, I'll show you around Brooklyn sometime, and inside I was like, oh, that's amazing, I can't wait, that's gonna be such a cute scene when he's showing her around Brooklyn, and then it never happens. They even go back to Brooklyn at the end, and it doesn't happen. I was so disappointed. I knew this movie did something right because it did make me want to play Mario Kart after, and the psychopath in me actually wanted to play as Mario in Mario Kart. What self-respecting person plays as Mario in Mario Kart? Everyone's been talking about it, but Jack Black was amazing. I'm glad that they kept Bowser's character so under wraps in terms of what he actually was about, because they just made him kind of seem like, I'm the bad guy, I'm the big bad guy who wants to rule the world. But it turned out he actually had much more than that, and I like that they made it into a character thing for him, because now it's like this thing where his motivation is that he is in love with Peach and he also wants her, so it's like a love triangle, and I like that. It builds an actual interesting character dynamic between the three of them, and I like romance. I'm a sappy guy, and I like romance in my stories, and you can have romance in kids' movies without having to be obscene. Oh yeah, and the post-credit scene I thought was disappointing. They teased Yoshi, which was weird to me because there are Yoshis in the movie. Why did we get a Yoshi teaser? And the last thing I want to say is that I hate that the online discourse about this movie has been all about its Rotten Tomatoes score. Like who cares about the Rotten Tomatoes score? Which, by the way, I think plenty of people do not understand how Rotten Tomatoes works. The percentage on Rotten Tomatoes is the percent of positive reviews. Do not equate something having like a 55% on Rotten Tomatoes meaning it's like a 5 out of 10 movie. That's not the case. And more importantly than that, just enjoy the movie. Enjoy what you want to enjoy. Don't let people stop you just because they don't necessarily like it. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and yes, I would recommend it. So if you made this far in the video because you didn't care about spoilers, I would still say see it. It's really wonderful, and I just had a big dopey grin on my face the whole time. Thank you for watching, and new video soon.